Hi to everyone guys and welcome back in this new video. Today is a very important day for the markets because we will have the CPI numbers that will determine the outcome for the next week's FOMC meetings. Furthermore, I will let you know that another Wall Street giant has applied to the SEC for approval for an ETF spot with Bitcoin, a giant with a whopping 1.5 trillion. Before we dive into details, I ask you to support the channel by leaving a like and subscribe to it. Have you done that? Perfect. Now we can start.
Before diving into all the details, let's start with the fundamental data. In fact, we can see that today, Wednesday, September 13th, the CPI numbers will be released, coinciding with the core CPI. Those last data are a bit cleaner and less volatile because it doesn't include the food and energy components, which are the ones that contribute the most to price volatility. The Federal Reserve will consider this data in the upcoming FOMC session, which will take place exactly in 6 days. So, what does the market expect from this FOMC session? Well, currently it's around 93%, but this figure could change depending on what comes out regarding these data. As for me, I see the numbers, and at this moment, with the 93%, the market expects a stability in interest rates, which means that the Federal Reserve, as it expects it, will keep them as they are, at 525 to 550. This is because they have anticipated 2 more rate hikes, but the market expects that the September session won't be the main stage for these hikes. Now, let's move on to another piece of interesting news. Franklin Templeton, a major asset manager with assets totaling $1.5 trillion, has officially requested approval from the SEC and has submitted documents for a Bitcoin ETF spot. We're talking about another Wall Street giant here, managing $1.5 trillion in assets, and it falls within the top 10 of the largest asset managers globally, primarily stemming from the American economy. As I mentioned at the beginning of this video, the SEC seems to be reviewing Grayscale's application in these recent hours. This means the conversion from the Grayscale Trust into an ETF spot. And if this has a positive outcome, it could push the approval, especially regarding applications from compliant entities like ARK Invest, BlackRock, and so on. This could be a crucial moment for the cryptocurrency world. Now, on to some not-so-great news. We're talking about a hack that unfortunately involved the CoinEx exchange. I've never used CoinEx, and I hope you haven't either, because it appears that the hot wallets of this exchange have been drained by a staggering 27.8 million in the last few hours. There's a possibility that this figure could be even higher concerning this type of exploit. The cryptocurrencies taken in this exploit by the hackers are mainly Ethereum, Tron, and Polygon. Of course, they might mix them to make these assets untraceable and unfortunately might sell them in the market to make some cash. We'll have to wait and see because technology, especially in terms of intelligence regarding exchanges, is advancing, making it more challenging to mask the funds taken during these hacks and subsequently making it much more challenging to launder them. Anyway, I hope this isn't just a pretext to blow up CoinEx, and I also hope that none of you have actively used this type of exchange. If you do follow me, folks, please consider withdrawing your funds if you have the chance. Moving on to another piece of interesting news, it seems that with regard to spot ETFs, Hashdex, a Wall Street giant, has filed for an ETF spot, but this time on Ethereum. We've already seen them do this with Bitcoin in the past, with Bitcoin futures, if I'm not mistaken. In this case, it seems they've also filed for Ethereum, and this is great news because spot ETFs have to have the underlying asset as physical backing, and as demand increases, the price of this underlying asset rises rapidly. Furthermore, I wanted to bring up something else interesting. Gulf countries, as we've already seen with the United Arab Emirates and Kuwait, are actively mining Bitcoin and creating infrastructure while raising funds to create mining farms. There's speculation that Qatar might be pursuing the same goal. In fact, it's said that the Emir of Qatar will meet with President Bukele in El Salvador during this week, which could provide advice on how to structure everything. Anyway, let's hope this meeting has some pro-Bitcoin outcomes. I also wanted to share a very interesting chart regarding the behavior of Bitcoin whales. For those who don't know, Bitcoin whales are wallets that hold at least 10,000 Bitcoins. It appears that the sell-off concerning these entities in Bitcoin has ceased in recent times, and this usually happens when they start accumulating Bitcoin again. You can see that when it transitions from red, it gradually becomes transparent and then turns blue, indicating a shift in the behavior of these wallets. When they are in blue, it suggests that these wallets are accumulating, and the accumulation trend for Bitcoin is quite fascinating. Before we dive into the details of what's happening in the markets and how cryptocurrencies, especially Bitcoin, have moved in the last few hours, I want to show you something very interesting. Remember that until September 30th, for new subscribers and for those who perform actions like depositing at least $300 and making their first futures market trade of over $1,000, which means, for example, 100 with checks leverage, you have the chance to win up to 500 through a mystery box. I've provided all the links in the description below, and you also get a 20% lifetime discount on trading fees. Now, let's start by looking at how the cryptocurrency market has been behaving in the last 24 hours. It's been relatively mixed. TON has gained 7.5%, while RBL has seen an 11.8% increase. However, on the flip side, we have Lumen, for instance, losing 8.4%, and VET is down 7.4%. In general, we don't have a very clear directional trend, or let's say we're leaning towards the negative side. However, there are a few exceptions where some assets have shown relatively positive performances. Now let's take a quick look at how Bitcoin is doing. In reality, there's not much to report, nothing particularly noteworthy. Bitcoin is currently trading below the $26,000 mark, specifically at $25,127 to be precise, with a gain of 0.42% in the last 24 hours. Ethereum is trading below the $2,600 threshold. As we mentioned earlier, there isn't a strong positive trend overall, except for Toncoin, which has gained 7.47%. Regarding Bitcoin, there was some volatility during the day as we saw it absorb all the dump that occurred on September 11th, 2023. We've essentially absorbed all that dump, and part of the positivity was also brought about by institutional buying. As we saw yesterday, we've closed with a significant downward spike. In reality, the situation hasn't changed much. We still have those two main gaps to fill, one being between $34,540 and $36,000, and the other being a bearish gap that we could reach if Bitcoin drops below the $25,000 threshold. Of course, if this happens with a strong candle and substantial volume, there's a very concrete possibility of quickly filling the gap that ranges from $21,100 to $20,300. So we'll have to wait and see. In my view, we might see strong demand if we break downward towards the $24,000 to $24,400 range. As for open interest, we can see that it has somewhat decreased in the last few hours, particularly during the night. It has dropped from 8.1 to approximately 7.8, with a loss of around 300 million in open interest. We'll have to keep an eye on today because it's a crucial day, both in terms of FTX liquidations and the economic data releases scheduled for 14:30 Italian time in the US.
Perfect. We have to come to the end of this video. I remind you, I've left you the link in description for your sign up for BitGet and receive the mystery box. If you haven't already done, I ask you to support by leaving a like and subscribe to the channel. For the subscriber, we will see you in the next video. Bye.